Good day, my dear fourth class students. Today I am going to teach you a lesson in science. I am very happy that I am getting the opportunity to teach you. Normally, you have another teacher to teach the subject to you. But as you know, because of Corona, many teachers could not get out of their houses, which is respectable, which we all should respect. So, as the Corona gets weaker and weaker, and we get stronger and stronger, then you will have your normal teacher to teach the subject. But we cannot afford to lose the time. We do not know when the vaccine for the Corona will be found, when Corona will be under control. So till such time, we don't want to lose any academic time. So that's the reason why I am taking some subject and trying to teach you, help you with understanding the lesson. So in the fourth class science, the first unit is about the living world. Living world. In that, the lesson, there is one lesson by name living things. Living things. I know you are all fourth class students. You should be able to understand if I teach you 100% in English, which I can. But because of the holidays and all that, you may have a little bit of difficulty in following. So, now and then, I will try to teach you a little bit in Telugu. Anyway, the first thing is, so that is so far the introduction. It's a very, very good lesson. We need to know what are living things and what are non-living things. So basically, in this lesson, we learn about the living things and non-living things. Living things, what are their characteristics? What are their properties? And non-living things, what are their properties? We will learn about them. And also, what are living things? What are non-living things? So, and also, what are natural things? What are man-made things? So, we will learn about all these in this particular lesson. Now, before reading, I will read the lesson, but before that, I will give you a brief idea about the lesson. Now, like I mentioned, when you think about a thing, it has to be either living or non-living. So, living things, again, a plants, animals, they come under living things. For example, so like I said, first I'll give you an idea what are living things and what are non-living things. Then we go through the lesson. I read the lesson. Now, you know, the things that have life, that's what we call it as living. And non-living things, for example, you have, again I told you, there are two things. One is natural non-living things. Another one is man-made. Let us say natural, all the hills, rivers, mountains, rocks, these are all there in the nature. But they don't have life. So they are non-living things. Whereas there are other kinds of non-living things which are man-made, which we normally make. For example, chair, a table, a pen, pencil, the microphone, that I am using here is a non-living, man-made thing. Whereas if you take in the living, in the category of the living things, you have things that need air and water, that are sensitive, that grow, that move from place to place, that respond to stimulus, like that. The things that need food and water, the items that reproduce their own, all these are living things. So, I gave you a brief outline of when you think of things, there are two broad categories. One is living, another one is non-living. In the non-living, we have natural, you have man-made. Natural things like hills, rivers, rocks. Man-made like chairs, table, pen, buildings, like that. And then we try to know a little bit more about living things. Living things, plants and animals, they come under living things. In the living things need air to breathe. They are sensitive. They have the five senses. Similarly, they grow. When you take a plant, when you start, it's a small plant, then it grows as we put the fertilizer, as we water it and things like that. It may not move, but animal, for example, it will move. But again, the living things need food and water. Some of the living things, you can also, there is another category, another characteristic or another property. They produce their own. Like for example, cat, dog and chicken, they produce their own. Similarly, plants, how do they produce? With the seed and then stems like that. We will go into that a little bit more in detail. So I hope you understood what are living things and what are non-living things. So now I will read the lesson one time without any interruption. I want you to watch how I am pronouncing each and every word. Then if there is a difficult word, I will tell you the meaning. For example, I said all the vocabulary I will explain. Pronunciation, that means how I am saying a particular word. You can see here, I did not have the space. I did not have the space to write the whole word. So I brought it. People have a habit of putting instead of an hyphen here, putting it here. No, that's wrong. When you have a word, when you break it, there are certain rules where you want to break it. But anyway, that we will cover it in a different class. Here, pronunciation. I want you to watch how I am saying things. Ucharana antaru. Ee vidhanga nenu maatladutunnanu. Then I will tell you the actual teaching of the lesson. Okay? If you excuse me for a second. So now we move on to the textbook reading. So we are going to read the World of Science, Class 4. Class 4, World of Science. You see that? Now you can, the first lesson, this is the Unit 1, is a living world. That means all the living things and non-living things, we will learn about them here. Then we move on to the lesson itself. Here, this is the lesson, living world. Living world. So I want everybody, this is page number 6. So I would like you to look at, everybody, open the board, read, look at page number 6, and as I read, I want you to put your finger on it, and if I feel a particular word as a difficult word, I will take the time to pronounce it more number of times till you understand the pronunciation as well as the meaning. let me read this for the first time. Okay? The living world, living things. We see many things around us. Some of them have life, some of them do not have life. They are called living and non-living things. Non-living things are further divided into natural things and man-made things. That's what I told you earlier. Natural things and man-made things. For example, hills, mountains, rocks, streams, rivers, etc. are natural things. Table, chair, pen, pencil, paper, etc. are man-made things. These are all man-made, non-living things. Now we move on to living things. We learned in the previous classes that living things have certain features, F-E-A-T-U-R-E-S, features, చాలా పలుకుతాం అన్నమాట. Features which help us to identify them. Living things need air to breathe. Living things need what? Air to breathe. They have special organs to breathe in air. They have special organs. For example, we have lungs. You see that the people have lungs. The fish have what is called gills, and then leaves have stomata. All these are various parts of the plant, or the parts of the fish, or part of a human being. They breathe air. They take in air. So next look at page number 7. Living things are sensitive. They are sensitive. They have senses. Now we have 5 senses. Can anybody tell what those 5 senses are? 5 senses. Taste. You can taste, and then smell. You can hear. You can see. You can feel. So these are called the 5 senses. We call one is tasting, another one smell. Taste. నాలుగుతో టేస్ట్ చేస్తాం, ముక్కుతోది స్మెల్ చేస్తాం, దాని చెవులతోది వింటాం, తర్వాత కళ్ళతోది చూస్తాం, అండ్ దెన్ స్కిన్తో టచ్ చేస్తాం. ఓకే, దీస్ ఆర్ ది 5 senses. Now they have senses such as taste, smell, hearing, sight, and touch, which the non-living things do not have. Non-living things do not have. If you touch a chair or a table, it does not feel anything. Okay? Now, living things move and respond to stimuli. S-T-I-M-U-L-I. Stimuli. Living things show growth, but non-living things do not. They do not grow. They also need food and water to survive. Which one needs food and water to survive? The living things need food and water to survive. Now here you see the pictures. For example, here you have a baby, and then a boy or a child, and then you have a young man, and you have an elderly person, a young plant. You can see the small plant seed, and then becoming a small seedling, and then a small plant. Then you have a good plant, a watered plant, and not watered plant. Okay? So here you see all those. So let me go back. Living things move and respond to stimuli. Living things show growth, but non-living things do not. They also need food and water to survive. All living things produce their own, I told you, all living things produce their own kind. Plants can produce new baby plants. Animals give birth to young ones. This process is called reproduction. So living things have the ability to reproduce Here, for example, cat, you have the kitten, plant from the seed, these are a plant, similar dog and puppy, hen and a chick. So this is called the reproduction. Now next page, if you look at page number 8, living things are able to do many things, but they do not live forever. Living things. They die when they become old. Living things are divided into two types. One, plants, and the other one, animals. Both plants and animals have some similarities in certain features. They need food, air, and water. They perform the functions of growth and reproduction. Plants cannot move from one place to another like animals. Plants can make their own food, but animals depend on plants or other animals. So if we recall, living things need food, air and water to live. They respond to stimuli. They reproduce the young ones of their kind. Who? The living things. Living things are divided into plants and animals. Non-living things are divided into natural things and man-made things. So that completes the lesson, and I hope you understood, but I want to go over this once again. Here the summary is things. Things are divided into two categories. One is living, another one is non-living. If you take non-living, there are natural, that means they are already there as part of the nature. And then you have what is called man-made. In the natural ones, see, we did not make a mountain, we don't make a river, we don't make a rock. They are all natural, non-living things. Whereas man-made things are like a chair, table, pen, the scope, like that. These are all man-made things. Now coming back to the living things are broadly defined into plants and animals. There are several characteristics or properties of living things. One is they need air to breathe. If there is no air, they will die. They are also number one. Number two, they are sensitive to the senses. The senses are taste, smell, hearing, sight, and then touch. So these are the senses. Now they also grow. Living things grow. You see a small puppy, when it is born, it's very small. As time passes by, it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And also living things, many of them, move from one place to other place. The only exception is, like, for example, plants, they do not move. Now, food and water are required for all the living things. Now, also, plants can make their own food, but living animals cannot make their own food. They depend on the plants and other things. Okay. Now, how about reproduction? Non-living things, they do not reproduce. They do not grow. They do not move. They don't need food and water. They do not reproduce. The living ones, they reproduce. There are different things, different ways. Some of them, like for example, cat and dog, they give birth to the babies. Chick, you have an egg, and then egg turning into a chick from chicken. And similarly, plants and leaves. So like that. So all living things, they reproduce their own kind. So that is the lesson here. I think in the next I will take another part in which I will take your homework sheets. I will try to answer them. First of all, I will give an introduction. You can review that, just like recapitulation, bringing back you onto the track. Then I will go over the exercises in this lesson, and then also try to answer some of the questions in your homework booklet. So students, it's a very fundamental and very simple matter. So when you see a thing, you immediately can identify what is a living thing and what is a non-living thing, what are the various properties and all that. Okay? I hope you understood it, and if you like my presentation, share it. Thank you very much.